What's up, losers? That's right, it's that time again. I've got a couple more r/fatlogic posts. And, you guessed it, I'm going to read and react to them with all of you. Hooray! Without further ado, r/fatlogic episode 14. Let's get into the posts.
Person: I've lost weight. Yay. Me: hey, celebrating weight loss is kind of fatphobic. Person: you're fatphobic. I'm celebrating natural weight loss. Losing weight naturally is fine, of course, but celebrating it, just like celebrating any weight loss, is fatphobic. You're celebrating not being fat. I don't know how to explain this to you.
People have a right to celebrate their own change in body, whether that means gaining weight or losing it.
In this fatphobic world, it's not okay to celebrate weight loss. Sorry, not sorry. Shrugs. Now get off my blog.
I bet this person is fun at parties. LMAO. Imagine being so miserable and self-centered that when someone achieves something difficult that will really improve their health, and that they're super proud of, you get mad and scold them because their progress hurt your feelings. That's honestly just pathetic. If you're honestly secure in your own body, you should be able to feel happy for someone else, even if you want different things for yourself. As an example, I'm not really interested in weightlifting and bodybuilding, because I don't feel the need to have big muscles or anything like that. But if one of my friends talks to me about putting on muscle, of course I'm going to be happy for them. I'm not going to interpret that as them putting me down for not being bigger. Because it isn't actually about me, haha. I can only assume that the reason for this bitter response to someone else's weight loss is because the person in question actually wants to lose weight too, on some level, and they resent being reminded of their failure to do so, because otherwise it doesn't make sense to me.
TW, weight loss. The medical advice that fat people should just lose weight, with the idea that this will solve for correlated medical issues, is the equivalent of noticing greater rates of heart disease in very tall people, and then advising everyone to bend over to be shorter. TW, weight loss. Making a fat person smaller, temporarily, is not going to give them the metabolism of a thin person who has never dieted. Just like how bending over to be shorter doesn't solve potential underlying heart problems.
This is so nonsensical that I'm honestly at a loss to what commentary I can even offer. Like, you guys get that bending over to become shorter is not the same as losing weight. Everyone gets that, unless they're a total moron who's been drinking the fat acceptance Kool-Aid breakfast, lunch and dinner. As for the metabolism point, I don't really know what they're trying to say. If a fat person loses weight, they're going to have a number of calories at which they will maintain that weight loss. If they go over that number, they'll regain weight. If they go under, they'll lose more. Individual people might have slightly different basal metabolic rates, which will affect their maintenance calorie number, but the fundamental equation is the same. Are they suggesting that fat people are just inherently incapable of losing weight and keeping it off because of their metabolism? Probably. Are they right? Lol, no.
Just got my anesthetic bill for a straightforward elective knee surgery, and I had to pay extra because I'm fat. Literally just because I'm fat. I'm in the same category as people with severe, uncontrolled diabetes mellitus, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and hypertension. There's nothing about underweight people, though. #fatphobia. #medical fatphobia.
Okay, so I'm not an anesthetist or anything, so I'll try to keep my commentary fairly brief here, to avoid displaying the full extent of my ignorance, haha. I guess what stands out to me is that this person doesn't seem to be bothered by other people with conditions that increase the difficulty or risk of anesthesia being charged more. Like, it's not as if they're making some principled argument about equal provision of healthcare. regardless of risk factors. They're just mad that they are being placed in the expensive category. Because they don't want to pay more. But the rationale for charging more based on obesity is the same as for those other conditions. Ultimately, this argument doesn't seem to have much of a leg to stand on. Unless you accept the idea that there is some grand conspiracy of doctors trying to bring fat people down. Which most normal people don't. I couldn't say why underweight people are apparently not charged more. A quick Google search suggested to me that severe underweightness would likely represent a significant risk factor. I suppose it could be because there are not as many underweight people seeking such surgeries as there are obese people, making the problem less visible and less pressing. But I'm not really sure. And I'm not inclined to speculate further. Either way, getting underweight people to also pay more isn't going to help obese people. So there's probably more productive causes towards which they could channel their focus.
My theory is that the goal of any institution that seeks to make dieting mandatory for everyone over a certain weight is not to make them thinner, since it's not effective, but to exert power. To exert power by making them hungry, by making them ashamed, by ruining their relationship to their body, by causing them to suffer. Because what else could it possibly achieve?
First of all, which institutions are seeking to make dieting mandatory? Talk about overdramatic haha. This is the fat acceptance persecution complex on a whole other level. There's a difference between institutions advising you to diet, providing guidance on how to succeed at dieting, or educating you on the dangers of obesity, and those institutions making dieting mandatory. It's not like if you refuse to lose weight, you'll be shipped off to a gulag or something. You're perfectly entitled to have as much McDonald's or KFC as you like. Nobody is going to snatch the chicken wing out of your hand and make you start running laps. But if you do insist on staying fat, you will end up in a prison of your own making, where you will find it difficult to move around and take care of yourself, where your medical bills will start piling up, and the hospital will become your home away from home. And in my humble opinion, that's a much scarier prospect than some fantasy world, where men in black suits detain you and force you to eat undressed salad. Because unlike the salad scenario, the life-altering consequences of obesity are very real. It's also very uncharitable of you to claim that weight loss advocates want to make fat people ashamed, make them suffer, ruin their relationship to their body, and above all exert power. Is it really so hard to believe that people might actually have your best interests at heart? Is it really worth demonizing people just because they're giving you a bit of tough love? Retreating back into the cocoon of fat acceptance and living inside that echo chamber might make you feel better in the moment. But in the long run it's going to do you more harm than good. Not just because it will encourage you to perpetuate your self-destructive habits, but also because it will foster this kind of bitter and paranoid mindset, which places fat people on one side, and everyone else on the other, when it doesn't have to be that way. I've really gone on about this post, haven't I? I guess I'm just getting worn out on the endless self-victimization. I wish these people would find a real cause to throw their weight behind. Pun intended. I mean, they clearly have plenty of free time, if they actually tried to solve real-world issues rather than imaginary ones. Maybe the world would be a slightly better place. But what would I know? Well, that's all I've got for you today. I hope you enjoyed the posts and my responses to them. Fat activists are always so dramatic. So at the very least, it's never boring haha. What do you think? Is it fatphobic to celebrate weight loss? Is bending over to become shorter like dieting to lose weight? Let me know in the comments. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. or I'll obnoxiously flaunt my weight loss in your face. And make you feel bad about yourself. Just kidding, haha. Anyway, catch you later.